Gospel Ripples. We wrapped up First Kings and moved into Second Kings. So, Pastor Tom, what was one of your Gospel Ripples this week?
Yeah, well, love the stories. I guess haven't focused a lot in my reading in like First Kings and Elijah. I always feel like those are stories that we remember from flannel graph lore and Sunday school stories.
Yeah.
But just really interesting. Elijah is called to minister to a faithless generation, and he's kind of feels like he's flying solo. And in light of that, we see God provide for him and in these just unusual ways. Can you imagine ravens bringing food to you? And I just think and it wasn't just food. It was like they brought bread in the morning, served that up, and then brought meat at night. It's like, man.
A little different than Grubhub.
yeah, exactly. Pastries in the morning and steak at night. Like, I can get down with this Raven restaurant. So, so we see that, and then we see like the brook goes dry, and then God leads him to Zarephath, where he tells him to go to this lady and say, "Make food for me." And the lady's like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa!" And he's like, "Well, just do it." And then she ends up with endless supply of flour and endless supply of oil. It's just an awesome testimony to God. And I guess my gospel ripple from that really is like what we learn in that is that God takes care of his own, and God's promises are sure, and God's supply is limitless. And that's the gospel, right? Like God's promises are sure, God takes care of his own, and in light of that, we can trust God that his supply is limitless. Yeah. And so that just encouraged me in light of being a recipient of the gospel.
Yeah. So. Yeah, that's great. I was really encouraged too, reading just about the life of Elijah. And what stood out to me was just really all the amazing things that God did through Elijah. Yeah. Like what a incredible ministry he had. So that was great to see. But then as I was reading, I kind of saw a lot of similarities between Elijah's ministry and Jesus's ministry. Yeah. And just some things that both these guys did. So I came up with a little list of some things. And 1 Kings 17, we see Elijah raising the dead. Right. Jesus also did that. 1 Kings 18, there's this showdown between Elijah and the religious leaders, and then his victory over the religious leaders. And Jesus had the same thing during his ministry.
Jesus, I don't remember Jesus taunting.
He had a little bit more class.
Pointed sepulchres, maybe. Yeah, that's good.
We also see Elijah in the wilderness, distressed, similar to Jesus' temptation in the wilderness. Yeah. We see Elijah going to Elisha and saying, "Follow me." Yeah. That sounds pretty familiar to what Jesus did. And then finally, you can't miss it, Elijah ascends into heaven. Yeah. Jesus ascended into heaven the same way. Wow. So just a lot of cool parallels that I saw, and I'm sure there's many more. Yeah. But my gospel ripple was, how much greater is Jesus than Elijah? Yeah. How much greater of a person and how much greater of a ministry was Jesus compared to Elijah? Yeah. And that really, I think, is the point of Elijah's ministry. Yeah. Is that all the Old Testament is a foreshadow and building to the person and ministry of Jesus. Yeah. So we see again here a bigger gospel ripple in the life of Elijah, but ultimately it's pointing to Jesus.
Wow. That's really good. I like that. There's a song that we sing that says the true and better Adam. Yeah. And he's the true and better Elijah too. So, wow, that's good. Hey, this next week, we're going to start getting into some of the minor prophets. So, I don't think we get to Micah. So
2 weeks.
Oh, okay, 2 weeks from now. Yeah. So Joel and Jonah, I'm excited about reading Jonah. For some reason, God always just draws my heart into the story of Jonah. Yeah. So just keep being faithful, and in the midst of that, look for those gospel ripples, and let's grow together through God's word.